published with that. So, I'll give it one say.
Item 1, call the meeting to order and record the members present and absent.
Ellis,
Here.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater. Here. McDermott.
Present.
Martin.
Yes.
Item 2, read the open meeting compliance statement.
I, the undersigned person, in representation of the Alva Independent School District Number 1 of Woods County, Oklahoma, certify that prior to December 15 of the last calendar year, the date, time, and place of this regular meeting was filed in the office of the county clerk of Woods County, Oklahoma. I also certify that at least 24 hours prior to this meeting, excluding Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, notice of the date, time, place, and agenda of this meeting was posted in prominent public view at the location of the meeting. Witness my hand is 2nd day of February 2015.
Item 3, the consent agenda. All of the following items would concern reports and items of a routine nature, normally approved by one board vote unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. The consent agenda consists of the discussion, consideration, and approval of the following items. 3A, addition of items of new business to the agenda.
Have no.
Okay. 3B, minutes of the January 5th, 2015 regular board meeting. 3C, approval of the treasurer's report on the status of funds and investments. 3D, approval of the activity fund report. 3E, approval of the inter-account transfers. 3F, approval of activity account fundraisers. 3G, approval of the child nutrition report. And 3H, declare items as surplus property.
I didn't have any additions or corrections to the regular board meeting minutes. Anybody else? Okay. On the treasurer's report, you can see that year-to-date, our general fund encumbrance comparison is we're up $773,946.14. Warrant comparison is at, we've spent $680,089.52 more. And that has to do with, of course, rising costs and salaries and so forth. Revenue comparison, we're up $3,178,722.49 over FY14. And our gross production is up $987,318.36. Actually, gross production is up $1.8 million in a 2-year period. Again, gross production this month is good. I don't know if we'll see gross production, but if we do see it reduced, it will be later this spring. I do want to tell you that we did get our midterm adjustment, and because of the money situation and what we've been taking in with gross production ad valorem, we're going to be cut in our midterm state aid $346,000. We're one of the few schools that had a 55% decrease. Now, there's still some money out there that may be coming later to us that has been in the formula wrong over the last 20 years, and I have not seen that indication yet. But anything over 11%, we're supposed to get money back. In Ponca City, David Pennington is the one that blew the whistle on this, and I see that he's going to also lose midterm adjustment in the neighborhood, what did I see? Almost $89,000, and he's supposed to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $680,000 out of his tax over collection type of thing. But we're still in good financial shape, even though we're gonna lose that much money in the midterm adjustment, and revenue looks good at this point in time. I know Terry said this is unusual to get this kind of money in this month that she just received today, so far we're really in good shape there. You can see our investment ledger that we have a total of $4,605,000 invested at this point in time. So
Do we have to redo the budget or rework some items in the,
we'll probably have some changeovers later on, but our total budget, we won't have to rework completely. That'll be those change items. And that usually really occurs, after the March board meeting, when we get down to the nitty-gritty and those types of monies and so forth. Any questions on that part of it? Activity fund, again, activity accounts look good. But if you have any questions on any expenditures or anything, try to answer those. We do have inter-account transfers. We're transferring football gate distribution as shown in the work. And again, each non-revenue sport gets a little bit out of the gate money each and every year. And that's what those particular accounts will be receiving. And we have 3 fundraisers, FFA class projects, selling of some Christmas ornaments, those types of things, and then freshman class dinner and a baseball dinner and game.
I have a question
Okay?
on FFA class projects. Have estimate sales $3,000, expenses $100, and estimate profit $2,000.
Should be 1,000 for the expenses, Larry,
Oh, it should be 1,000.
I think.
Okay.
And what they're doing is they're taking, what is that, Tiffany? A laser cutter. And Mr. Nation was giving some of those away to people that have helped, and it got to a point in time that they wanted to buy them, and it was right at the Christmas time, and so he spent a lot of nights up there making some crosses and selling those crosses from the laser project, and he's paying back the metal that used from the shop, and that will go in their activity account. And the fundraiser came into the office the first day we came back from school, and the money was deposited after that fact. So
Well, I was just wondering, it just didn't add up right.
it didn't. You're right.
the only concern I have is these are already done. So we're being asked to approve them after the fact. I don't know if we need to look at our policy on that, but,
And the policy does state that if there is a fundraiser that comes between board members that board members haven't, then the superintendent can okay those. So if the board would wish to make sure that they knew about the fundraisers for each time, then they would have to be voted at a board meeting before an organization could partake in that fundraiser. And I have no problem with that, to be real honest with you. There are times that fundraisers do come up because information comes to different sponsors and activities between board meetings, but on, excuse me?
That one we got today, asking for help with one.
So there are some times, but that's up to the board, that we can change that policy.
Are they that critical that they're needed right away? I mean, like a fundraiser, or is there not
I think
thought
it's the
about?
opportunity at that point in time, Linda, to make the money. I'm not sure that any of our activities are critical in need of money, but it just comes to a certain time, and there's a time frame when they can do those types of activities.
I think it was only about 2 years ago that the board changed the policy to allow you to make.
Yes.
When are we doing that?
But the request goes through the principal, then you,
Correct.
his office.
Correct.
And then we, okay.
Correct.
I just know we've had discussions on, getting our fundraising under control, and this is not a mechanism to do that, the way this is presented.
Well, we could have, like, if they over a certain amount, I mean, like a large fundraiser would need, surely would need approved, or a new fundraiser, one that isn't on annual. Well, I don't know that we need to approve Blue and Gold Sausage. You know that, I mean, we need to approve it, but if it was a day after the fact, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But if it was some new concept that.
And I agree with Tiffany, there are some out there that we are out of control, and people are just, so we, as administrators and as activity sponsors and so forth, we need to be planning a little bit better in the future. When this first came out years ago, you only had one time to get a fundraiser, and that was in the August board meeting. And there wasn't any leeway at that point in time. And that was crazy, because there were a lot of things that came after that made a hardship on the activities. And so through the history, then we open it up, and then it comes back and creates. So we probably need to pull in the reins a little bit and look at it. So we'll look at that in the future. Any other questions on fundraisers? Child nutrition report, still looks pretty good. Our expenditures up till December the 19th, we were right at $108,522. And with our income, we had a total of $175,000. So right now, we're really in good shape in the child nutrition. I don't think the child nutrition has ever been not supported by the general fund, because as you can see, there's $77,000 that's not accounted for that. We could break even at this point in time, but a lot of times the general fund will help with the child nutrition, and it will be in the way of salaries. But looking a lot better, and again, primarily because of the free and reduced students that we're having and the federal reimbursement that we're getting this year. It's a lot higher.
A child always is fed, right? Even if their bill is, even if their
They will
lunch is-
always get some food, yes.
it-
We have some money that will pay for students that can't pay for it and don't get federal aid.
And they are fed the same meal as the other students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But child nutrition looks really good. Really don't have anything on surplus. I will tell you that all of the items that we have declared surplus in the past will be presented on the Purple Wave, and they will be as part of a government sale at that point in time. It'll be March the 3rd. So we'll try to get information out to people on where to look for our information. We've got desks and chairs and ovens and refrigerators and things of that nature. Richard Burton has worked a couple of days with our custodians and also with prisoners, getting it all organized. But the Purple Wave was in here the other day and they've taken pictures, so that will be on the purplewave.com.
And what date did you say?
March the 3rd is the actual bidding, and then they'll have to get a bid number and bid on those items. So we felt like that was the best way to get rid of our surplus, and we've had a really good success with Purple Wave. So that will take place March the 3rd. And that's all I have.
Motion?
I make a motion, we approve items 3A through 3H.
Second?
McDermott,
Aye.
Martin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Ellis,
Aye. Item 4, vote to approve or not to approve the purchase order encumbrances for the following funds for FY 2015. A, General Fund 11, number 578 through 652, with change orders 0 through 652, and payroll number 50,201 through 50,204, with payroll change orders 50,000 through 50,204, for a year-to-date total of $8,420,530.30. B, Cooperative Education Fund number 12, number 59 and 60, with change orders number 1 through 60, and payroll change orders 50,000 through 50,011, for a year-to-date total of $549,217. C, Building Fund number 21, number 28 through 33, with change orders number 1 through 33, and payroll change orders 50,000 through 50,003, for a year-to-date total of $164,735.40. And D, Child Nutrition Fund number 22 and 30, with change orders 1 through 30, and payroll change orders 50,000 through 50,010, for a year-to-date total of $382,632.90.
I didn't really see any big items in our purchases this month. If you have a question on any of this, a lot of repair on water fountains and on purchase order 637, that is some pipe that we're going to put up on the parking lot so that they don't drive over the edges, and put a rail there. Just don't see anything unless you all have any questions on any of those. And co-op fund, just our requirement to pay Winoka Public Schools the transportation that they transport kids to us. Building fund, again, a lot of repairs. Gray Dog Mechanic has to do with heating in different schools. Shirley Dozer Service, that's going to be for some rock on the parking lot at the high school to make sure that that's all taken care of.
May I ask
Sure.
something about that?
Sure.
It doesn't have to do with the rock, it has to do with this item. But it's, will the rock take care of some of the erosion that's?
No, we actually are going to get the football sod from Northwestern,
Okay.
and we're going to put that on the side hill. This is the bigger rock that we're going to put down in the corners, okay? And then the county's going to come back with the lighter rock to put in the actual parkway, okay? To try to hold some of that. Oh, if you notice going down into the football field at the very north, that slant that we cleaned up in the trees and so forth, we're going to put some bigger rock there to help that erosion. But the side hills, we actually I've got permission to get the grass from the football field to college put on the side, so we're gonna spread that out. And then just child nutrition, food supplies for next month. So pretty ordinary on our encumbrances this month, it looks like. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Need to vote.
Need a motion?
I move we approve, purchase order encumbrances, A through D.
Second.
Martin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye. Item 5, principal's report.
Mr. Parker shared with us that you guys would like to know some of the strategies we're using in the classroom. And versus just saying a few, I even brought a few examples because it's a little bit hard to explain. Our teachers use stations to reinforce their learning. And what I brought today was just a few of the stations that some of the kindergarten teachers use. And daily in their class, they change them out about every 2 weeks to leave some to reinforce what they've learned, and then for new learning. One of the ones I saw the students use, which was really neat and they really enjoyed, is a bowling one where they set up their pins on this one doesn't have it, but they had like a little map where it showed them where to set up their pins, and they would take a ball and they would roll it, and they would take their 10 and then mark out how many they knocked down and then do the subtraction. And they would do that and fill out their pages. Oh, I guess here it is, I'm holding right here. And they would keep putting them up. It was really cute. They really enjoyed doing that. And all the students within that 2-week period will have a chance to be at each station. They pull a different station each day. Another station that I pulled that I saw the students really enjoying was a dice station. And they would get their worksheet out, and they would roll their dice, and then they would put the largest number in the first line, and then the smaller number in the second line, and do the math sums. And they would do various worksheets and coloring with the numbers to match up, like if they were 5 or 4, they'd be a different color. And they spend about probably 20 to 25 minutes working on these stations throughout the day, and they also do literacy stations that I'll bring some other board members so you can see what that and how they use those. Our first graders do similar stations at their level to reinforce the learning as well.
Allison, how many stations will be going on at one time?
They have 10.
They have 10, and you've got 20 kids spread out in about 550 square feet.
Cozy.
Yeah, cozy, yeah. And they partner up, so they have, some of them, they work with partners, and some of them are independent, but there's 2 at a station when they do them.
Thank you.
Okay, I have 222 students. That's with 7 students who are basically counted twice. Really, I only have 215 bodies, but 7 pre-K .5 kids go both in the morning and in the afternoon. We're getting ready to start this semester again our Power Up Math. And basically what we do in Power Up Math is at the beginning of each unit, we take a pre-test, and then we divide kids according to their skill on that skill from that pre-test. They can move up and down between groups. We'll end up with one high group that already has the skill mastered. We'll do more project-based education with them. We'll have normally 2 groups in the middle. This year we only have 1 because I only have 3 teachers. We do pull in Mrs. Hendrick's some on it. And then we have 1 smaller low group that really needs some intense remediation on the skill. And so then so that's what we do with our Power Up Math. If mid-test through the unit, if they have mastered that skill, we can bump them up. If they're at the top level and they're struggling with that skill, we can bump them down. However, most of our units are only a week long, so a lot of times we don't have that mid-test. We have the pre-test and the post-test, and we really try to differentiate instruction by hammering each kid with what they need at the time. And so a lot of times we'll utilize the skill with the upper level and more project-based, and then we will really break down the skill with the lower level and then teach the mid-level like we would any other classroom time. And so, and really give the kids what they need. But that's what we're doing. We're starting that back up this semester. We did the first semester. We're just starting it back up this semester with over at Longfellow.
Now, Power Up Math, is that done within the classroom, or do
Pardon
they?
me? Yes. Done within, say my third grade, okay? My third grade only has 3 sections. My second grade has 6 sections. However, we do 2 different deals of it. So my third grade has 3 sections. We will move the kids to the project-based classroom, you know what I mean? Or we'll move the kids to the remediation room. So we have one teacher that teaches the remediation, and we rotate them around also. But
That's in addition to the math that's taught in the regular class.
right. They'll go in, excuse me. They'll go in for the regular lesson, okay? Then we break them up after that. So they get the regular lesson in the classroom, and then after that we break them up.
Is Power Up Math, is it showing, that it's working? I mean,
Yes. Especially with the big push for differentiated instruction, this is a great way to do that. Because you can give the kids what they need at that time. And it's strictly skill-based, and so you may have a kid who's on the bottom end one day and really struggles with a certain skill. With the next unit, he may have already mastered that skill, so now he's up at the project base. And so it's not like we divide all the kids up and that's where they're at the entire semester. It goes unit by unit.
Mr. Earl?
Okay, I would like to thank Mrs. Perrin for coming tonight. She is our district rising star, Crystal Perrin. She is a 5th grade writing teacher. And she epitomizes what it means to be a rising star. Professionalism, has really become a leader, great classroom management, and we're lucky to have her in our district. So thank you, Crystal. And you jump ahead, you interrupt me here if I do this wrong. So, our 5th grade teachers, there was some concern with our writing scores last year that really across the state. And as we begin to prepare for those state tests here in February, the 5th grade teachers, along with Ms. Madrid, got together and they developed a writing schedule where from 11 to about 11:50 every day, they would be teaching a different form of writing to a group of students. So that's really allowed them to focus the instruction on our 3 forms of writing. Now, what they also did, which is was really great, we felt like we were really missing the feedback with our students. Teachers really didn't have enough time to sit down and explain to them what they did wrong and where mistakes were and why they wrote what they did. So we worked with Northwestern, bring some Northwestern students up in the afternoon, and they come up and they work with students one-on-one. We had intended to get some retired educators involved in that. We weren't able to do that at the time. Some things fell through, but it's really worked out well for us. We're hoping that can be an avenue. We hope that when we see these test scores come back later in the year, this is something that will work for us because we've got to do something different. What we're doing wasn't working. So the 5th grade teachers have done a lot, and I appreciate their hard work. And Ms. Madrid, I want to thank Jen Oswald and her students at Northwestern. They come up during the week and take time out of their day to help work with our kids one-on-one, so it's working really well. We've also started our science fair projects. Mrs. Denton, our 4th grade teacher, is teaching an elementary education class at college, and her students are coming up and working with students after school on their science fair projects. They can sign up, and they're helping them with the research. all the development. Anybody that wants help can stay after school till 4 o'clock, 3 days a week, and 2 days a week, and we'll help them. Some are gonna do a little more than others. It kind of depends on those college student schedules, but we had 8 today that stayed till 4 o'clock and started the development process of their science fair projects. Second year we've done this, it's really been neat. Had a lot of good feedback from parents. It's hard as a parent to know what to do for a science fair project, so had a lot of good feedback with it. Lastly, thank Mr. Hamilton. He will be taking a group of students tomorrow to Chisholm for the 5th grade academic meet. It's been a long time since they've done that at Lincoln, and Mr. Hamilton kind of took that under his own wing and really has been working at it. Spent a lot of time sending home notes to parents, identifying those students through test scores, through gifted and talented, through teacher recommendation. And so they're going to take, I believe it's around 18 students over to Chisholm tomorrow evening to compete in that academic. We are beginning a digital citizenship in counseling. We are finding that our students, we need to teach our students a little bit more about the right way to handle your cell phone and the right way to, the appropriate way to be a citizen on your computer. So Mrs. Sheaver is going to take that on, and we're going to really begin to work on that because we're using them and we need to teach them the way to be responsible with those devices. So that's something that we're really excited about and hope maybe can eliminate some problems that we've had. We got a focus school report back from the State Department, and I made copies for each of you. She was very pleased with the progress we made, and you can read through that. But real proud of the staff. They've done a lot of hard work, and we knew we were always doing our best and willing to change, and she kind of reaffirmed what we're doing. So that's all I have.
And my report from the middle school kind of follows along the same line. I have 207 students right now, with one more coming in tomorrow, which will make 208. Ken and I had talked a lot about designations and things that we were doing, and we got rather frustrated because we weren't getting a lot of feedback from the state on the things that we were doing and if we were doing the right thing and all that stuff. So the visit from the school improvement specialist was very welcome to both of us. And I also made you a copy of the report that she sent to me, that it kind of validated the things that we've been doing over the last couple of years. And some of the things that we did to improve our standing at the school is what got us on the focus list in the first place was our bottom quartile and some of our IEP students. We have an unusually large number of students on IEPs because everybody wants to bring their IEP students to Alva because the special ed department is so good. And we have about 17% of our students on IEPs. Last year we did a trial run with a couple of classes on co-teaching, putting IEP students into the regular classroom rather than pulling them out. We had really good success with that, and we saw some improvements in test scores with those. So this year we're doing it quite a bit more extensively. We only have about 6 or 7 students who are pulled out for their language or for their math. The rest of them are in regular classroom with a special ed teacher in the classroom with the regular teacher, so they're getting the same instruction that the other students are getting. And we've seen a lot of success with that. Another thing that I think that we had that has helped us improve is we have convinced a lot of our parents not to opt out of remediation. Parents have the option to turn down the opportunity for their students to be in remediation if they want to. And Mrs. Martini and I have worked really hard with parents trying to convince them that their students needed to get the extra help. We have 2 reading specialists in our building that are very, very good with reading and then our math remediation also. So we have more students participating in the remediation. We think is helping that also. And our teachers are becoming more proficient or efficient, or however you want to say it, with the differentiated instruction. And we talked a lot about, we had a book study early in the year for that. And then we had Drew Eichenberger here on January 6th for our district-wide, and we got a lot of good information out of that. Teachers are using differentiated instruction a lot more. And I think it's helping our students with that. And we're really looking forward to maybe, for the first time, looking forward to maybe getting results back from our testing this year, because we feel like that we've made some pretty good strides in that area that will help us in the school. And she did make the mention that she thought that there's a very good possibility that we might not be on designations again. They were supposed to be out the end of January, and of course we didn't get them then. So she was very, we felt like what we'd been doing was validated, and then we felt like that she's going to give us a lot of help that we haven't been getting from the State Department.
At the high school, we have 255 students this morning and 253 this afternoon. So we lost two that we got early in the year, and later in the day we got notification that two students were going to go back to the total where they came from. One of the things that we were concerned about at the high school is our biology scores, our English instruction biology scores. Dana Manning on Friday went to a Oklahoma Science and Math leadership meeting that the State Department put on the information on current EOI testing and try to get some standards for things that she needs to be sure to incorporate in the classroom to give those kids a boost in what they've been doing in biology as far as their instruction test. That's the one area in our high school that was the lower than the rest of them. So she's working real hard on that, trying to get the right information and test specs and those kinds of things to make sure that our kids are prepared for that this spring, get ready to take those. In order to increase the communication that maybe we haven't been doing very well is Tammy Duncan had a coffee with the counselor meeting with senior parents to talk about scholarship opportunities, talk about just a kind of a timeline for the end of the year. We didn't want to wait until April or May or March because it's been in months. So we thought if we could get some parents there and give them some information about scholarships. A lot of scholarship deadlines start happening in February and March, and we tell that to the kids a lot of times. We give kids the information, but that doesn't always get conveyed to parents. So we try to get parents to come. We had about, we got 61 seniors, and we had 18 kids represented at that first meeting. And we're going to do that 2 or 3 times throughout the spring, just to try to get that information to parents so they'll know when deadlines are coming up and things that need to be ordered, and just try to get that information out. Mrs. Simon also had a parent meeting. Term papers are just coming up in her class this week. So those, that's always a big deal. It's always a real tense time for seniors because that senior term paper is something that they put a lot of work into and different things like that. So those are going to be due at the end of this week, and she had a parent meeting to come up to let them know what the expectations were with that. That was early in January sometime, probably about the second week of January. So she had that, and several parents, I know typically came to that, and I don't know how many actually showed up to that. We had a basketball game, freshman basketball game that same night. So I'm guessing, I think she told me there were 8 to 10, 12 parents maybe there that were there for that. Tim mentioned the digital citizenship thing. We had an assembly at the high school for high school and middle school students came. We called it a Facebook assembly, but it really talked about digital media. It talked about Twitter, it talked about Instagram, Snapchat, all those things that those kids are doing right now. And more or less, they're downloading music and they're putting pictures out there and different things. So it kind of was an assembly to give them good information about their digital fingerprint, the things that they're leaving as far as the jobs, people that come and do, and those kinds of things, and what kind of mark they're leaving for those future endeavors. You go get a job, the first thing we're going to do is look at your Facebook page and see what pictures you put up there, your Instagram, and see what things are there, and kind of tell what kind of person you are, maybe even before you ever show up at the door. So it was a real good assembly. It was pretty frank. She was real right on the edge of, you need to do this and this and this, and you better not be doing these things. And told them right up front, these are things that are not acceptable and things that you shouldn't be doing, and you cannot erase anything you put out there, regardless of whether you think it's temporary or not temporary. Technology guys that are real savvy at it can pull anything up that you've ever put on. So our kids needed to hear that, because they think a lot of things they do won't apply to them or don't apply to them. And some of them, the comments that I've heard some after were, oh my gosh, I thought that went away. And so I think, even downloading music and those kinds of things, that she talked about college kids, she was from Southwestern, college kids that had been prosecuted for downloading illegal music and those kinds of things. So it was real kind of to the point, and let our kids know, and it was good for Ron's kids too, that they were there, because that's kind of the age that they start doing those things, and it's just going to feed naturally for what Tim's starting in his school too. So some of the other things that we're trying to do are looking at the changes for next year. We're getting ready for testing. We have an in-service day, half-day in-service day next week for teachers, and we're going to do our testing in-service. Sam Duncan's going to do that. She's our district test coordinator, and all of our teachers have to be trained in test administration, and we have to spend an hour or 2 hours with them to make sure that they know what to do and fulfill that requirement. So she's going to do that for us next week to make sure that we're doing that. Last week also, we had a couple of kids that went to Edmond for an art show. Gage Wilson and Wyatt Radford got 2 awards of excellence for their things that they've done. And Wyatt Radford also is a finalist, and he was going to send me the details on this afternoon. He didn't, but he's a finalist in an international student photograph competition. So he's took some pictures, and the way that I understood it, when he told me initially last week, it was there were, I want to say 14,000 or 17,000 photographs that were judged and went through this thing, and he's one of the top 100. So that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal for our high school. So we're curious to see where it's all going to fall. We don't really know how it's going to play out, but those guys, both of those guys, deserve recognition for the artistic things that they bring to our high school, and it's been outstanding. The last thing is we're kind of talking about the possibility of trying to do some summer school things for credit recovery and remediation. It will be, I'm sure as we get closer to the summertime, we'll bring some things back to you all to talk about and do some of those kinds of things. But we have some kids that need that, some remediation that we have to do, just credit recovery that they, for one reason or another, didn't pass one of our classes, and if we can get them that over the summertime, we'll work up something to try to post to you all, and get some information on that. And that's what's going on at high school.
Very good. Thank you.
Resignations. I have one from Chris Eckhart as yearbook sponsor, Charlie Flater as cheerleading sponsor, and Jerry Warden is actually retirement, resigning from language arts, and these are all at the end of the school year. Legislative update. All the bills have to be in at this point in time. There can't be any introduction. The biggest bills, according what I think in education, teacher pay raise, teacher evaluation, and so I think those are 2 of the biggest things that will affect education in the future, and we will let you know, what happens in the future. Strategic planning. We did have our first meeting a week ago, Wednesday. Very successful meeting. We went over all of the items that as a board, administration, and teachers entered and how we got them, what kind of projects we're doing at this point in time, and the money that we're being able to use. And we talked about building 1 elementary school, talked about going back to neighborhood schools, those types of things, where we want to be. Questions were asked, why didn't we build a high school out at the Career Tech? You know, thinking about it, we probably should have. But we will meet again on February the 16th. It's a Monday. And hopefully they will bring in some ideas that, after going out and thinking, and I did send everybody the email on all that information that we showed. What are there some things that they want to see as 5-year plans, and do they have any ideas for funding other than bond issues? Are there some other things that we could look at? And hopefully each and every meeting we're going to have is going to be an hour to an hour and a half. So, and really appreciate it, and they were on time and observed all the errors that I had on my presentation, so it worked out well. Current communications. The museum tried to have a trip to Hutchinson, showed up, no bus. They called us. We were able to get them a bus so that they could go ahead and go to their Hutchinson trip. And these are the thank you notes from those people. And only because we are able to lease our buses out to entities that we could do that. And their leasing company is going to pay for all the expenses. So worked out very well and pleased a lot of people. Had a lot of illness last week, and called around to different superintendents. You know, what's the magic number? Is it 20%? Is it 25%? They couldn't tell me. But looking at our illness and so forth, for the most part, we had the highest rate, I believe, was last Friday, and it was the high school and middle school students. We had about 14% gone those days. Elementary, we had 11%. Well, with 548 elementary students at 10%, you got 400 kids that you got to have in school. So as administrators, during our administrative meeting, we go, when we call off school because of illness, when we've got 400 students that are in, and look at the babysitting and look at the meals and those types of things. So we felt like that we were better off if we could get disinfectant for each and every room and do those types of things. So hopefully we're over it. I think our numbers were down a little bit. High school and middle school were hit harder today than other schools, but we look at that each and every day. And you know, those are things that concern us to a great deal, but babysitting and making sure these kids get meals every day is a concern also. So that's something that we have to look at. And I don't know if you all know this, but I got a warning that prior to the newspapers that Eric Smith was actually, the National Federation of State High School Association has named him the Oklahoma Girls Coach of the Year. And we got that notification last week, and so I needed to share that with you. And honestly, that's all I have on the my report and what's going on. I hope to have more information for you on especially legislative updates and so forth in the future, but it's early. You know, they're talking pay raises, $2,000 with 2 added days of teaching. And we're going to be looking at our calendar for next year. And then in a 5-year plan, it's a $5,000 raise with 5 days added to the school calendar, which I don't know how the OEA is going to look at it, but that's not really a raise for teachers because you're making them work 2 more days. But that's traditionally what's happened in the state of Oklahoma when teachers do get pay raises. Everybody holds them accountable for them, whether it's House Bill 1017 or the old term accountability or the old term student learner outcomes, or what we're looking at now with TLE and evaluations and 35% of the student grades holding that teacher hostage basically on the evaluation. So those are big concerns for teachers this year. I will tell you though, the atmosphere and everything since Hoffmeister has taken over has been a lot more pleasant. A lot of things are happening, just like actually had people from the State Department come up and go through our schools and look at what we're doing in our schools and give us feedback on what we're doing. So that's pretty good. Still early, still on honeymoon yet. Any questions? I just gave you that ABCs of school finance. It was in an article that I read, so I just threw it in there, okay? Okay, Mr. Ellis.
All right. Item 7A, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve or not to approve the memorandum of agreement with Serve for Success AmeriCorps program year 2015-2016.
We have been involved with the AmeriCorps Serve for Success for several years now. And basically it costs us about $20,000 a year, but each school will get at least a half-time tutor. They can use that person any way that they want to, as a tutor, as a teacher aide, or what. And it's been a very successful program, and I would recommend to the board that we contract with them for the 2015-2016 year.
Where does these people come from? I mean, what is their education? What do they have to have? And
They're Northwestern students. They have to apply through that and then go through an interview process. A lot of them are going into education now, Linda, and they can take some of this tuition off and AmeriCorps will pay for it. So it's for educators. And
Anymore, now they can have retired educators and come back and be in AmeriCorps and give the educational work to their grandchildren or children also.
so it's a good program, and we've been very pleased with the students that we've had. And if they don't work out, we also can fire them. So it works out to our benefit. We've been very, very, very happy with this program. So I would recommend that we continue our agreement with Success AmeriCorps program.
does that need a vote? How about to approve the agreement with Serve for Success AmeriCorps program for year 15-16?
Second.
Martin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Elder.
Aye. 7B, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve or not to approve the school calendar 2015-2016.
The teachers have had input in this, the administrators have had input. This pretty much goes along with our school calendar this year. The basic difference would be in December, we're going to go ahead and go that Monday and Tuesday before Christmas, and then get off 23rd, 24th until January the 6th, and get out before Memorial Weekend. So we'd like to recommend this calendar to the board for next year. If the state comes with any changes in new laws or whatever with addition 2 days because of that, we might have to amend it. But we've also got built in 8 extra days due to our ability to go number of hours rather than days also.
So on January the 5th, they're in school or out of school?
In school, I think.
First day of third 9 weeks is the 5th, and the 4th is an in-service.
So they come back the 5th?
Yes.
Okay. So the 5th shouldn't be yellow, right?
No, it shouldn't be. It should be an entry,
Gotcha.
E1. But that just designates that if you go to 5 and you see January 5th, first day of the third 9 weeks out to the side. And this is a new format, by the way, of the old one. I like this one better than the other one. But we've got 175 days taught in there and meet all the requirements, and teachers had a lot of input into this calendar.
It is nice format from what
I like
we had
that
before,
format.
yeah.
Need a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the school calendar for 2015-16.
Second.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Martin,
Yep.
Ellis.
Aye. 7C, discussion with possible board action, vote to approve or not to approve the employment of Taryn Phillips, non-certified personnel for the remainder of the school year 2014-2015.
Is our paraprofessionals working at this point in time, Ron?
I'm sorry.
Is the para working
Yeah.
at middle school?
Started today. We have one para who is going to have a baby at any moment. We don't know when, but it's gonna happen pretty quick. We don't, she has discussed that she may not come back just because of daycare costs and things like that. We have another one who we are uncertain. She has surgery in December. We're uncertain about her recovery right now. Taryn has actually subbed for us 8 days in a row because of issues with a couple of our paras. And we're wanting to hire her so that we'll have a little more stable environment with our students that need paras for the rest of the year. And there's a couple of students that we have in the building that are pretty severe that she's gonna be trained on for about a week so that she can work with them.
So we would recommend Tara Phillips be hired as non-certified personnel for the remainder of the year.
Did she graduate in December?
No, she'll do her student teaching next fall.
So she's a full-time
She has
student?
no, right, she has no classes.
She has no classes this semester.
So she'll be working
I
full-time. She
could-
doesn't have
I could
any
tell you
education
that.
classes.
Good, I mean, good for her. I mean, good, I thought, well, I just thought maybe she graduated midterm. Okay.
I move that we approve the employment of Taryn Phillips for the remainder of the school year.
Second.
Third.
Slater.
Yes.
McDermott,
Aye.
Martin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye. 7D, discussion with possible board action, vote to hire or not to hire a new head football coach.
Mr. Potter, would you like to make a recommendation?
Love to make a recommendation. We talked with several people. I got several resumes in the mail and emails and phone calls and went through a process. We talked with a lot of different people, and we are very pleased with the choice that we made to recommend Taylor Switzer to be our next head football coach at Alva High School.
And Taylor, I think at this time, if the board would like to ask you any questions, you'd be glad to answer them, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Okay. When did you graduate from Alva High School?
2003.
Okay. And how many years are you in coaching?
This would be, this year coming up will be 10,
Okay.
2 college and 7 in high school. Which I'm sure that makes some people wonder.
Coach P, is that you and I, or what?
Yeah, I think
there's a
so.
couple of them.
We felt old before you came in there.
Who was your favorite basketball coach in Alva High School?
That's a trick question.
That's right.
Well, Taylor, I know that you've been around football and you were an assistant this year. What are your expectations for next year?
you know, coming into this situation and having seen it as an assistant, and it's actually, it's unique that I get to answer that question knowing what I have, you know, to work with, and knowing things that are coming back, and knowing this. We do have a long road ahead of us. There's a lot of things that have to be done, a lot of time to be put in. Strictly speaking, fundamentally, and consistency within the program. I would never sit here and tell you expectations-wise our wins and losses at this point, but I will tell you that as someone who wants taken over this program, hopefully, I do expect our kids, when you come to the game and you watch, no one will outwork us, and no one will be more prepared than our kids, and no one will have play with more character. So our kids are going to represent us extremely well. You'll be pleased with that. They're going to fight. They're going to be tough. And that's where I hope to be when we come around in August. And there's a lot of time to be put in there for that. But we can get there. We do have a great group of kids. I've been other places. I was at Kingfisher for a long time. Was very fortunate to have a lot of success there. Went to a head coach at a 5A school. So I've seen a lot of different specific types of kids, and we have great kids. They're hard workers. They are character driven. We have a lot of good parent support. But to answer your question, consistency in the program, and some goals. I don't know that we've been real goal driven, so that's the direction that we want to go. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer. I can tell you, if you don't have a question, I would like to tell you that it's extremely exciting for me to come back to my hometown, and that doesn't get to happen a lot in this profession. And a lot of hours and a lot of stress and a lot of things go into this job, and we all do this for kids. Nobody's not in this room right now because you're doing it for kids, everyone in here. And I had a lot of coaches in my life, a couple sitting in this room actually, that have made me want to get in this profession. And so if you have that kind of impact on kids, that's why we do it. I have players that call me, had some that called me tonight that I coached that said, "Coach, congratulations, we're so happy for you." Well, that's what it's all about. And I'm extremely humbled and extremely excited to hopefully become head football coach here, and I'm just ready to get to work.
You're a gold bug.
I am a gold bug, and I'm proud of it.
And we will hold you in a high esteem.
I wouldn't expect it anyway.
Right, and so we wish you the very best. You also have a lot of support
Thank you.
and a lot of encouragement from your community, so Godspeed. I mean, just get after it.
Thank you.
Before Godspeed, we need a motion.
Okay. Well, maybe Godspeed comes before motion.
I make a motion, we hire Mr. Sweatfigger as our offensive head football coach.
Hopefully we'll play defense too. I appreciate it.
Maybe. Just score one more point than they
That's
did.
right.
Second.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Well, congratulations to them.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. I'm excited.
7E, discussion with possible board action to approve or not to approve the request from Stephanie Martini, counselor at Alva Middle School, to rename the National Junior Honor Society Activity Fund account to Bug Bites Bank.
That's the guy with me.
Hello. Taylor, who was your friend?
That was, guys, that was Brad Baker. I coached his son at Reno. We lost his son last year in a car accident. And so he's a really good friend of me. I didn't tell him to come. He showed up.
It's nice.
Anyway, so,
Congratulations.
see you.
Basically, what has happened is there's some money to back this Bug Bites Bank, and because Stephanie has not had an account open, she's been putting in the junior, and they don't use that anymore. So we would like to rename that. Go ahead, Dan.
What we did is we got hooked up with Regional Food Bank to provide food to some of our underprivileged students. And turned that over to Stephanie, and she took it and ran with it. And there is now a church in town that wants to give us money every month to help with our food bank, and we need to have an activity account for that. And that National Junior Honor Society is inactive, and that was one of Stephanie's clubs, and she just wants to switch that over to have a place to put the money in an activity account.
And I would make that recommendation that we do that.
Does that need a chart of accounts approved with it too, like all of our other activity accounts?
It would go along with it, I'm assuming.
Well, once this is approved to do that, we'll have her have that ready for the next board meeting.
Oh, okay.
The expenditure report, approved expenditures
And approved income to go
Right.
into the account?
Right.
Does that come directly from the church to that then? Or?
But she will make, I think the church will make their donation to Bud Bites Bank, and then we'll run it through activity account with them.
I make a motion that we approve 7E.
Second?
McDermott,
Aye.
Martin,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Slater,
Yes.
Ellis.
Now, on that also, do they have food drives for this?
No, we actually are hooked up with Regional Food Bank out of Oklahoma City. And once a month, we send them what we feel like we are going to need for the students that we serve. And they ship it out to us. We go pick it up out at the, what is that place out on the
Region,
lane?
the food bank out there run by the West End Church. We do our
Doesn't
backpack
cost,
food,
they just,
food program.
it's part of Regional Food Bank, doesn't cost us anything.
But the food has to come, I mean, there's a point where where there is a cost. Do we need to replenish that?
That's paid for by the Regional Food Bank people.
They donate that.
They donate
Okay,
that to
that's what I
us.
wanted to know.
There's no
And
cost.
it's usually about $500 a month worth of food, and then we're going to get additional funds to add to that.
Okay,
We need a motion to go into executive session.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we did, I think. I make a motion that we go into executive session.